Great. Well, wonderful. So today my guest is Mario Radinger from Germany. So glad to see you today, Mario. And well, we've known each other for a while through the Quantum Healing Forum. And so I'm really glad that we can connect like this today. And so would you like to introduce yourself a little bit and tell us who you are, where you live?
I'd love to.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good morning, Patricia. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me. This is such a pleasure. I'm in Germany right now, and this is where I mainly live and work. I also live in Spain on the beautiful island of Mallorca, traveling back and forth, so to speak, at the moment. But right now, I'm here in Frankfurt, and yeah, I'm a quantum healing practitioner, quantum hypnosis practitioner, like you. And like you said, that's how we've known each other for a couple of years now. And it's great to be able to connect this way. Thank you for having me on,
Yes,
Patricia.
it's so nice. And I remember that you started with QHHD, didn't you? The
I
technique
did.
of Dolores Cannon. And um, I can't remember when exactly because I did a training in England, but I'm not sure. I don't think you were there. We were from a different year, aren't we? Yeah.
Yes, I think I started a bit later than you because I started in 2014.
Ah,
I
yes.
remember because it was the year that Dolores transitioned.
Ah,
And
yes, exactly.
so yeah, I didn't have a chance to join a live class because at the time she wasn't really traveling anymore and not working anymore in that way. So yeah,
Exactly.
2014.
Yeah.
That was
And how did you discover quantum healing?
well. My best friend and we were on this spiritual journey together, you could say. I think we were both in our 20s, like 25, around that age, and we talked about philosophy, religion, um, metaphysics, entered the spiritual realm at some point, and one day he sent me a YouTube link of an interview that Dolores did, and I had never heard of that woman before or her technique. I was not a hypnotist at the time. Um, I was doing something completely different. I was a journalist, actually. Well,
Really?
maybe not that different now that
Yeah.
I compare the two, but I was in the normal kind of journalistic business, journalism business, and also a dance teacher. So completely like different areas, you could say. And I saw the video, and after 1 or 2 minutes, I knew that this was important in some way. My whole body was reacting in a very intense way. I had shivers everywhere, tingles down my spine, and I knew
Yeah.
that whatever this woman is saying is true, and I have to learn
Yeah.
what she's doing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
and and that's how I found QHHT. And I think a month later we already had we did the course, and we both actually did the course, and we had the qualifications and started this incredible journey.
Wow. Amazing. I think I can remember that your friend didn't he write a song for Dolores in that time?
We did.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember.
he started actually. I think it was the day after we found out that Dolores transitioned,
Yeah.
and he felt inspired and started writing a song,
Yeah.
and had quite a profound time doing that because we dearly loved Dolores, and we did love her at the time, even though we had never met her personally. But I'm sure you know what I mean when you probably have met her
Yeah.
personally. But there's just so much love surrounding her, and we had always felt that
Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
start. And so this song was created, right? And he sent it to me, like, what do you asking me, what do you think? And I added like my part, and then this beautiful collaboration um,
Wow.
came into being. And it, yeah, it was, I think, also a great process for us to kind of deal with the loss.
Exactly. I can remember it. And it really touched me, and I thought it was amazing that you did this for her. And um,
Thank you.
it's quite an interesting journey, isn't it? That because you are the one who translated Dolores her book in German, didn't you?
I did, yes.
Yeah.
I was approached by um, Ozark Mountain Publishing, Dolores Publishing Company, and um, it was great. It was wonderful doing that. Yeah,
Yeah.
great experience.
Yeah. And if I remember correctly, you started translating the book after Dolores passed, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah. So how was it like to do that, to work with her book and to translate it? Did you feel some sort of connection to her?
Oh, I did. I felt like she was standing right there behind me, looking over my shoulder every time I sat down to work on that translation. And I felt like she was making sure that I was doing it right.
Oh, that's amazing.
And
Yeah.
giving me little corrections and telling me, no, this should be different. And yeah, I felt very connected in that year, half a year, I think, or 3/4 of a year it took, because I wanted to do a really good job,
Yeah.
as you
Yeah.
can imagine. And
It's a
so I
big
really,
honor. Yeah.
I took my time, and I tried to do the best that I could.
Yeah. Well, that's really amazing. Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's so important to bring her books in other languages as well. Eh? So more people
Very.
can find all this knowledge and wisdom that she shared with us. So yeah, that's really
Exactly.
amazing.
You
Yeah.
know, I had so many clients telling me that they would love to read Dolores books at the time,
Yeah.
like years ago, but because of the language barrier, they they were not brave enough. You know, like
Yeah.
you, there are many people in German still today who don't speak English fluently.
Yeah.
It's, you know, you can't expect someone to speak English here, and I think it's kind of
Yeah.
similar in the European countries.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
there are many
reading
people. Mhm.
reading is a different story, isn't it? Even if you
Yeah.
speak English. I mean, reading a 500 pages book
Yes.
it can be challenging if you don't um,
Yeah.
if your English isn't that good. So it's really brilliant that you translated that in German. And
Yes. Thank you.
it's kind of interesting that you told me that you were a journalist, um, because now I understand that. Um, yeah, that makes a step a bit closer to to make that effort because I know what a journey it can be to write a book, and it's a journey in itself. So,
Yes.
and at some point you wrote your own book. Would you like to tell us about it?
Oh, I'd love to. Thank you, Patricia. Um, yes, I um, actually started writing my book before I translated Dolores' book,
Really?
because of all the clients that told me they would love to read about quantum hypnosis, but not in English. And so that's actually what gave me the initial impulse to write a book, because I was thinking, okay, if there are no German translations of Dolores books, then someone in Germany has to write a book, you know, about this work, because it's too incredible to to not be known, you know. people should know about this work and the amazing potential that it has. And so I started, but it was very early, and I didn't really know in which direction to go. And then the translation work started happening. So that was kind of going on parallel.
Ah,
And working on Dolores' book really helped me find out in which direction I wanted to go with my book. So that it kind of went hand in hand
wow.
and helped each other. And so I started collecting material over the years, and at some point, the the folder was actually thick enough to be able to say, okay, this book is going to be born.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and that happened at the end of last year
Wow.
for the German version of my book, Soul Journeys. Um, and the English version just came out last week.
Ah,
So
congratulations.
thank you
Yeah,
so much.
that's really great. Yeah. And now we also know each other not only through Dolores, her work, but also through Beyond Quantum Healing, the technique that Candace Craw-Goldman initiated. And now I remember when I wrote my book, I sometimes got confused, like, okay, am I going to write about QHHT or Beyond Quantum Healing or my own technique? Because we all develop our own style, don't we? And
Right.
so how was that for you?
Well, um, quantum healing is the concept that Candace Craw-Goldman um, created or defined, you could say, is such a gift to to humanity, because it is such how do you say, a contemporary appropriate version of quantum hypnosis, you could say, because that's actually what I have found for me to be the term that felt most appropriate. I am a trained hypnotist, and I use hypnosis with my clients, and so I consider myself a quantum hypnotist, and I'm a quantum hypnosis facilitator. But I totally understand what quantum healing means, because in many of these sessions, healing takes place. And if not in all of them. And so healing is a big part of it. But in Germany, you have to be cautious when you use these terms because of laws and regulations. And um, you actually need a a conventional medical education to be able to use the term healing.
Nice.
So I chose quantum hypnosis.
Yes, it's great, and it does cover what it means, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And I when I hear your story, it's kind of like that you are a soul journalist, isn't it? Huh?
It's true. Yes.
Yeah,
In hindsight, I can say that the journalist part was a great preparation for the work that I'm doing now. I didn't know it at the time. I really believed I would become a conventional journalist, writing for magazines and newspapers. But now I understand that, like you said, I'm a journalist in a different way.
exactly.
Yeah.
Because in my experience during sessions, it's so important to ask the right question. And I can
Yes.
imagine that as a journalist, you are really trained in asking the right questions. So
I
yeah,
feel that way. It helped me a lot
yeah,
to learn how to do that, and also to to always try to keep an objective perspective
Yeah.
as quality journalism does as well. And I also studied cultural anthropology in university, and that is very similar. It um, it taught me how to get to the bottom of things and to explore unknown territory from a very neutral point of view. And I believe it's very important in the work that we do to
Yeah.
be able to keep that.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's about observing things, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, we
And that's, oh, sorry.
uh, you know this. We when we work with clients, we are um, their travel companions. We are their supporters. We are their caretakers and their guardians, so to speak. And so we have to be able to not get lost in the the stories and whatever is happening. We have to hold that space for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so yeah, that was a great help.
Yeah. 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 And you have such a gentle energy. I can imagine that it's so great for people to have a session with you. And
I
uh,
hope I hope so.
and when you studied anthropology, I wonder. I'm just curious. Do you have something with Asian cultures, or
Asian
is
cultures.
that a strange question that I ask? Because I saw an Asian guide before we started this interview, so I thought, would it be something that's connected to Mario? Yeah.
Well, it's interesting that you asked this question because I have been asked before actually in my life
Yeah.
about Asian connections. Yeah, which I've always been surprised by, but since it happened several times, there must be something to it. So yeah, I can totally confirm that to you, Patricia. And I once did a DNA test. I got it as a gift for my birthday, and it actually turned out that I have some Asian
Really?
DNA.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a lot, but still a bit. And so, yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting. Yeah. Yeah. And well, this brings me to another question that I had when I was looking at your website, and I noticed that you do so many things. You also do Akashic record readings, which is kind of like a mediumistic skill, isn't it? And
Yeah.
well, this is something that I also do. Although I'm not, I always are a bit in doubt when to call it the Akashic record or the quantum field. Um, what is your opinion about that? How do you see the Akashic record? What is the difference between the Akashic record and the quantum field?
To be honest, I think it's the same.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
just two terms.
yeah,
Two terms for the same thing. One might be a more mystical, ancient term, and the other is like a more contemporary
yeah,
word for it. Um, but I think we're talking about the same source of information, you could say. Um,
yeah.
and yeah, I would not differentiate between the two.
Exactly. Yeah, that was my feeling as well. But so
Mhm.
it's interesting that you see it like that. And now the same question that clients ask on a regular basis is, what is the difference between a dream experience and a quantum healing experience? How would you
Mm.
see that?
Ooh, that's a very interesting question. A dream experience, either in at night or in the daytime,
Yeah.
daydreams, right? They exist as well. I think in both instances, you tap into that quantum field, and it it's a shift in consciousness when you dream. in any case. So you you are able to kind of shift your consciousness from this physical reality into, let's say, a non-physical level, because there are probably many different ones and many different areas you could travel to, but you are shifting it away from the physical plane, and you tap into that when you dream, I believe.
Exactly. Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. Yeah. So, how do you see the experiences that people see during the session? Um, because I know that sometimes it can be very symbolic, just like in a dream world, and sometimes it can be really like almost a physical memory that people recollect. And
Yes.
what do you say to clients when they have doubts about um, how to interpret the experience in a session?
Well, this is where trust comes in, I believe, which is one of the most crucial concepts when you work with your inner guidance. You, the more you trust in the information that you receive and the source of the information, the better your position is to understand and integrate the information. Because no matter what came to you and how it came to you, it was the most appropriate information and the most appropriate way of receiving it for you.
Exactly.
And you know if it's meant in a symbolic way or if it was a memory. Like, no one else has to tell you that, you know. um you know that I feel like my clients, they, when I say that to them, they are understanding what that means. And especially immediately after that experience, when it's still so fresh, you know, and vivid, and they're like, okay, yes, I can see the symbolism, or I know this was a memory. The I also think that the emotions are a very good um, tool in trying to differentiate, because memories are very, very often connected to profound emotional experiences. And dreams and symbolism are, in my experience, a bit more removed, you could say, from
Yeah.
profound emotional response.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that can be kind of like a tool to help
Exactly. Yeah.
find out.
Exactly. It's so fascinating. Yeah. And during a session, do you combine the different techniques that you use, or?
Yes, definitely. There was something that I felt the urge to do from a very early time on. Um, you remember this in the community, um, at the time when there was only QHHT, there were already some members who felt like this could be combined
Yeah.
with other techniques and other modalities and other abilities. And I remember that from the start I felt that way.
Yeah.
um, but at the time it was not officially considered or discussed. And so I felt very much at home with the quantum healing, the BQH concept, from early on, because it felt authentic to me. It felt organic to me.
Yeah.
And I had always given myself permission to do whatever needed to be done in that
Yeah.
moment with that person. But of course, I respect and honor um, 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 legal, you could say, limitations, and so I I'm very um, clean about this. I offer my clients the original quantum hypnosis that Dolores taught
Yeah,
and facilitated, and I also offer the soul journeys, which are my method of quantum hypnosis that allows me to do whatever needs to be done.
exactly. And it's so wonderful that both can exist. Uh,
Yes,
yeah, yeah,
and it's great because um, there are people who need one thing and there are people who need another thing, and when you're able to offer both, it's great.
exactly, exactly.
I love that wealth, of
Yeah,
of
absolutely,
options.
absolutely. It's like, um, yeah, that's what I find so beautiful about beyond quantum healing. That um, the only limit there is the limit that we set for ourselves. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yes.
And could you tell us a bit about your travels to Mallorca? Because I understand that you live part of the year in Mallorca, and is
I do.
is quantum healing part of that choice to do that, or
um it's becoming a part of it. At the beginning it was just the inner the urge or the impulse to change the scenery, because I have been living in a big city um, for over a decade now, and because of friendship connections, I had been traveling to Mallorca quite regularly, and whenever I was there, I realized that I feel great. I feel, I mean, not that I didn't feel great in Frankfurt, Germany, but I felt different in a way. I felt lighter, and I loved being surrounded by nature.
yeah,
That was a big aspect. And so my closest friends and we all felt the same impulse that we should spend more time on
yeah,
that island. And it also has like a very mystical, beautiful energy.
really,
Apart from everything that you hear about this island in regard to tourism, there's still a very, very organic, magical vibe to it when you get there, and especially in the part of the island where we live, it's a bit more untouched. It's a bit more natural, and we very much love and appreciate that. And so some of my friends have moved there completely
yeah,
last year,
wow,
and I am sort of traveling back and forth because uh, I I love working with my German clients,
yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah,
and not all of them would travel to Mallorca for a session. Of course, you can do a lot online now, which helps,
yeah.
but I really honor my German clients, and I love working with them here. So I go back and
It's
forth.
great, absolutely
Yes.
great. Yeah,
But there are also clients on the island. I've actually started working there more than I expected. Um, my Spanish is not good enough yet, but there are quite a lot of German and English speaking people on the island, and it's great to be able to bring the gift of quantum healing or quantum hypnosis to that place
yeah,
as well.
absolutely. And I noticed something that, and maybe it's because of all the changes in many countries and societies. Um, but I know we are in the shift, and we all know that we are on our
Yes.
way to create this new earth that Dolores wrote about.
Hmm.
And But what I've noticed is that the last year, it seems as if many people are starting to move to other countries, and
Right.
um, and I'm not sure if it's just that I notice these things and it's just a coincidence, or if this is really taking place. But I see so many people moving to other countries, and as if I believe that sometimes we are needed in a certain place, and maybe
Yes.
because we need the energy, or maybe we because we bring a certain energy. How do you see that when? Um,
Exactly the same.
yeah,
Um, just in the last year, my best friend moved to Spain. I started moving to Spain. My sister moved to Ireland,
really,
and other friends of mine moved to South America. It's
yeah,
it's definitely happening what you're describing, and I think you nailed it when you said that these places are crucial to move to for the person. Um, I think, or I feel like, um, this is such a profound moment in history
yeah,
that many paths are leading into new chapters.
yeah,
And this could be because the person has changed in a way that is more resonant with the new place. Or it could be that the person needs to move to the new place in order to change something there, to bring
yeah,
something there. And we know this from our sessions that there are many possible reasons why things happen the way they do. And at least in my small reality, in my universe, I can definitely see why people move to where they moved.
yeah. Interesting, isn't it? So fascinating.
Very, yes.
Yeah, yeah. And what is your take on the new Earth? How do you see it when you look at what everything that's happening right now? How do you see this new Earth? Big question,
That's
isn't
a
it?
big. Do we still have like an
I'm
hour?
sorry. I don't think of these questions before the interview. They just pop up, you know.
Well, I think it's a great question, and
Yeah,
I love talking about it. And
yeah,
from what I have gathered, from what I have learned in regard to the information that has come up about this in my work and from other channels, um, I believe there is something happening on a collective level, but also on the personal level, and these two are intertwined. And I believe that each personality that is incarnated here at this time has their own journey to make and their own choices to make, and they everyone has their own private reasons for doing um, what they do and making the choices that they make, and which is actually a great school to release judgment, I have learned, because the new earth concept contains a lot of pitfalls, I believe, as well,
yeah,
especially when it comes to spiritual ego, that concept, um, because there are different paths to take, and I have learned to respect and honor each and every person's path, because I believe that people are smarter than they might appear on the outside, and everyone has their inner guidance and their life plan and um, their overall direction. And so I believe everyone is choosing the path that they're meant to choose. And I feel like the new earth is definitely part of my path. Um, but right now, I'm very much occupied with helping people find out what their path is, because I try to live in the present moment as much as I can, and so at times I try to detach myself from that whole
Yeah.
topic and
Yeah.
just do the work that I can do right now. And that is when a client comes to me, I help them figure out what their path is.
Yeah.
And everything else will come when the time is right.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's so beautiful how you say that. And now, um, when you wrote your book, Soul Journeys, um, I noticed that you started with explaining what quantum hypnosis is. And I thought it was really amazing how you described it. And I think many people uh,
Thank you.
can learn from it and get some understanding about what is it. And really good to read it before a session, I think. And and I know you've written client stories in your book. Is there one particular story that is close to your heart or closer to your heart? Because I think we're always connected from a heart space when we have sessions. So, but is there one particular session that stands out for you?
Well, I've I've kind of entered that phase of this work where I lose the overview, you know. You know this. At the beginning, you kind of remember every single
Yeah.
client and every single session, and at some point, it's just too many,
Yes.
and you kind of lose track, which is completely appropriate, I believe,
Yeah.
because I remember that Dolores, she was quite radical in that way. She said, the moment someone left my office, I forgot all about their session,
Yeah.
which was very smart, I believe, because you have to kind of cleanse your own field as well, right? Because
Yeah.
you're sharing it with the people that you work with, which is necessary and it's
Yeah.
beautiful. But in order to be able to do the best work you can, you have to take care of yourself. You know this. And
Absolutely.
so she immediately let go of it. I can't do that. I have to. I'm not able to do that. I carry at least the memory for a bit longer. But now I've kind of entered territory where uh, I can't remember all of them. But coming back to your question, um, the most recent one actually was very profound, um, in that I got to work with someone who was really, you could say, at the bottom of their reality.
Yeah.
You know, you know what I mean. Some people have, like, they hit rock bottom
Yeah.
before they rise again.
Like the dark night of the soul.
Exactly. And from all the sessions I had done this year, this one was the most intense in that
Wow.
regard. And the young woman had, she did such a great job. She had such a wonderful journey, and she was able to heal in such a beautiful way that I was almost in tears.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though I keep my cool, like, very well, but it was just so beautiful to see.
Yeah.
And you know, when you're connected to the higher energies, when you're doing this work, that you also, you release for the client.
Yeah.
And so I felt that in that moment, I got to do that. I was allowed to do that. And it, that the young woman sent me an email a couple of days ago, and it, it was just another proof of the amazing potential of this work, because
Yeah.
she felt like born again,
Oh, that is so beautiful.
reborn, and she feels like being in the light
Oh,
again.
yeah.
And what else could you wish for, right?
Exactly. That's the best thing that you can wish for. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's such a beautiful experience because it's such a intimate experience to be part of someone's soul journey, isn't it? And
yes,
to know that you can be someone like who can show this little light and to have them experience how it is to find that light within. It's really amazing. Yeah.
I consider it um, a privilege to
Yeah.
be able to do this work,
Yeah.
because in this world it's not common to really let someone in,
Yeah.
to really open your heart and let someone in, and share your light and your dark with them.
Yeah.
And after all these years, I'm still amazed by the bravery of the people who are sitting on my couch,
Yeah.
that with a stranger, you could say, you know, that they had never met before, or at least on the surface, not
Yeah.
met before, um, that they are granting you the right to look into their heart.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that so much. I respect that, I honor that, and that's what makes me gives me the drive to do the best work that I can
Yeah.
every single time. It's just beautiful to
Yeah.
witness that.
It's absolutely. And I'm so glad that you shared this story because I think it really captures the essence of quantum hypnosis and quantum healing. Um, it's about
Yeah.
meeting each other in this essential place of the soul. And
Yes,
yeah, it makes you feel humble, doesn't it?
exactly. And I don't want to like spoil give a spoiler to the book if anyone's interested in maybe reading it, but one of the conclusions that um, the book comes to at the end is that we need each other.
Yeah,
We need each other to to grow in so many ways. And with the book, I've tried to explore that that topic, um, of how souls are connected, how lives are connected, how constellations of personalities are connected and necessary for development. And I think in each session, like you just said, this is spotlighted,
yeah,
um, because yes, people could do what they do in sessions by themselves. You know this. We all have the potential to to do this by ourselves, but we live in a world in which we have forgotten how to do that,
yeah,
or we never had the chance to remember or relearn how to do that. And so I feel every single session is an opportunity to help someone remember how to do that. And that is easier right now, at least. Maybe in the future it will change, but right now it is easier to do that together with someone else, at least for many people in
yeah,
my experience. And I basically see this as like the core of what we're doing.
yeah,
We
yeah,
are helping people remember how to get in touch with their inner guidance so that they can do it by themselves.
exactly. It's so beautiful. Yeah, I think you really captured the core of yeah, this amazing, amazing technique that we can use. And it's almost strange to call it a technique because it's not about the
Yeah.
technique, it's about making that connection. And,
Yes.
and, and that's what you mentioned. It's all about offer the space, isn't it, to connect. Yeah,
Yes.
it's so amazing what you do. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I mean, you do the same, and you wrote a beautiful book as well, Oceans
Yeah.
of Love, right? And
Yeah.
so you have walked this, or you are walking the path that I kind of set foot on, and I'm so grateful for everyone that has written a book about this work in the last years, like you, Patricia, because it has motivated me
Oh,
to do the same for this country that I live in,
yeah.
because that was the original intention behind it. And it was such an inspiration to see you and other people like Barbara Becker, to write these books about the work, because I think everyone should know about this.
Yeah, it's so kind of you to say, and I had the same feeling, and this is why I started interviewing quantum forum members, because I felt like there's so many people who are writing those amazing stories, and I feel it's so important that we share it, and
Yes.
because it's constantly evolving and changing, and we need to make those connections right now, because this is the time of change, isn't it?
Yes.
So I'm
You,
really grateful that you wanted to be my guest today, and to share
well,
your story.
are you kidding? Of course. I um that was not a question. I'm so grateful for you to have me on your channel. And when you said that everything is like evolving, you know, it's so funny because I'm already in the middle of the second book.
I was wondering, yeah, oh, you are. Oh, that's
it's
great. Yeah.
it's it kind of uh, birthed itself. So it's a very interesting journey to be on, because I'm so glad that I the English, the international version, got published last week, and I'm already working on the next on volume two.
Wow, that's really great. Yeah. Would you
It's
like
fun.
to share a little bit about the next book that you're writing, what it's about?
Oh yeah. Well, the first book is very much focused on um, session stories that contain human reincarnation,
Yeah.
and I tried to create a book that serves people well who are at the beginning of their spiritual journey, you could say, who might not have heard much about quantum hypnosis or quantum healing yet. And so it's kind of like an introduction into the topic. And I start with uh, introducing the realm of human incarnations,
Wow.
so to speak. And the second book will go beyond that.
Oh,
It will um, expand its focus onto existences on other planets or in other form. And so it will be kind of like level two, so to
yeah.
speak.
Yeah. Oh, that's so
For everyone.
fascinating.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. It's fascinating writing it. I'm very much looking forward to gifting this book to the world, you could speak. Yeah, it's fun writing it.
Absolutely. And do keep us posted when it is published,
Oh,
and how
with
can people
pleasure.
find your books?
Well, they can of course find them on Amazon. The German version of the first book, the English version, um, they can find it as a paperback or soft cover, I think you say, or in
Yeah.
German we say Taschenbuch, um, but also as an ebook, of course.
Great.
And if you don't like Amazon, if you don't use Amazon, there are other channels as well. You can, of course, buy them through my homepage, thesouljourneys.com, or through Bookmundo or in the bookshop. You can order them in any bookshop. Um,
Wonderful.
so yeah.
So thesouljourneys.com. Great. And yeah, I think it's really amazing that you mentioned this about the second book being about incarnations on other planets. Sorry. I'm also working on the next book, uh,
Great.
the follow-up of Ocean of Love. And this is also about incarnations on other planets and the communication
Oh,
with
I
those
love
beings.
this.
And yeah, I really feel that we are being called to write about it. And because I think we are entering a stage where more people will um, get to experience or meet or maybe have encounters with other life
Yes.
forms. And so I think writers and quantum healers are part of that, well, almost introduction, I would say, like making people aware of it, that it's kind of normal and nothing to fear, but it's just um, other vehicles that we can incarnate in and
Yes.
have incarnated in. So, oh, I'm really looking forward to your book, and I think it's absolutely amazing. That it's kind of similar. That's great. Yeah, yeah,
I think you're so right. There is some preparation taking place, and there are so many beings on this planet incarnated in human form that came from somewhere else,
yeah,
to keep it general.
yeah,
And I believe it's important for them to become aware of that and to remember
yeah,
where they came from, why they came here, why they're here.
yeah,
And this happens a lot in our work,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So these
yeah,
instances of remembering who they really are outside of this human vessel. And Dolores did that so greatly with her books.
yeah,
You know, so many people remembered because of reading her material,
yeah,
because suddenly they knew there are, I've always felt this way.
yeah,
Oh my God, now I know how to interpret that. And it has brought so many people closer to their essence. And I I mean, I think I can speak for you as well, probably, when I say that with this next book, I'm trying to contribute a little bit to that.
yeah,
You know, if only one person reads is going to read this,
yeah.
and it will bring them on the path of remembering, it was already worth writing
It's, yeah.
the whole book.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you so much. And
Thank you.
I think it's time to to bring this conversation to a close for today. And so once again, thank you so much. And I hope that many people will find your book. And hopefully see you next time when your next book is getting published.
It
Okay.
would be my pleasure.
Okay.
Thank you, Patricia.
Have a wonderful day.
You too.